Oh, yeah. Ooh. Welcome to the Beacon House. That's right. Bacon on waffles.
I fucking hate both of you.
Casey said both and looked at three people. He doesn't know how to count.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
And that's how I've come to the conclusion that Dunkin' Donuts is the mentally challenged stepbrother of Starbucks.
I'm sorry, have you had their coffee? It's so much better than Starbucks. Infinitely better.
Well, there goes
Is
that.
it, or do you feel bad about them so you just say that it is?
I literally have never been to Dunkin' Donuts until about 6 months ago, until I finally went just because they were the only thing around, and holy shit, they were amazing.
What, Dunkin'
it's actually
Donuts
really
coffee?
good coffee?
It's not. It's okay to not like it.
I don't know. They both have some
It's not
things.
bad coffee, but it's not really good coffee.
It's Target and Walmart.
Spencer's that
I mean-
hipstery kind of coffee drinker that he only drinks like
He
locally
only
roasted.
goes to K-Brew. and,
only grinded between like two organic rocks.
Yeah.
That kind of
That's
stuff.
what I mean. K-Brew's awesome. Love
I only
K-Brew,
drink
sorry.
coffee that's been ground between two adolescent Cuban virgins.
Jesus.
You'll want to
What,
edit
do you
that one.
sacrifice them after?
No, but that's weird. Does that make the coffee better? I'm willing to try it.
Oh,
Have you never tasted
I like
the
coffee.
blood of innocence?
Man, it's
what
better
is
than creamer.
happening? What is happening?
Way better than creamer.
You've actually been...
That's one of my least favorite funny beginnings. I wasn't proud of that one.
do you want to...
Well, because you were wrong.
Oh man, I don't. Man, to me, freaking Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks are just like Target and Walmart. Like they're kind of. I think one's a little better than the other, but I mean,
Which one do you think is better?
I prefer Starbucks just because they have I like their just like a iced latte that they have, and their new blonde roast is a little bit.
It's because you're a basic biznitch, and that's okay.
I am a little basic when it comes to
There's
that. But
nothing wrong with
also
that.
you can't
Did you
always
just
get.
say biznitch to avoid
It helped
saying
me.
the word bitch?
I did.
I
like
hate
that you
so
saw
much
right through
now.
the pop filter.
Can I say something? Well, first off, let's stop bullshitting and
Being
tell
rude.
everybody, guys, welcome to the Beacon House podcast. We're
Oh my
coming back
God.
at you here, and the fabulous person you heard disagreeing with Casey at the beginning is Jordan Shipley, back from California now to terrorize everyone in Tennessee. Jordan, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Also,
God,
thanks
that
for
was
disagreeing with
awful.
Casey.
It'll be the last time she does it this podcast.
Shit.
That
Okay.
was so fucking basic. Thanks for having me. Why did I do that? I'm so ashamed of myself. Man, we're both
What, for
off our day
disagreeing with
today,
Casey?
I know. I honestly, you disagreed with me, and I felt a little hurt. But I was like, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. She has her own opinions. It's okay to agree with these two every once in a while. I do some.
I mean, I don't even really care about the coffee. But speaking of the words, I will say this.
You're not too cool to care, Spencer.
Riddle me this, you guys. Riddle me this. When somebody tries to not say a word and they replace it with another thing that supposedly
Fudge you, Hunter.
It
Fudge
completely
you.
defeats the purpose.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's the same. If you're
absolutely
the
the
art of
same thing.
suggestion, like if I go Jordan F you because I don't want to say fuck you, and I go F you, and everyone listening mentally pictures the word fuck.
Yeah.
Did I really not say fuck, or am I just like trying to PC my way out of a
Well,
situation?
no, it comes. You're right because
like if you go
it's all the
biznitch,
intent.
everybody
Yeah.
knows you mean bitch. You called me a bitch, but you did it like a third grader. You know,
Okay, does anybody here listen to John Mulaney at all?
yes,
a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, he does this bit where he's talking about his time on SNL, and he told his director or his producer or whatever, his superior, "Hey, I want to do a bit with joke about midgets." And his superior was just like, "No, you can't do that. You can't say the word midget. It's almost as bad as the N-word." And John Mulaney is just like, "Okay, if you're arguing over which word is worse and you can't even say one of them, that's the worst word."
That's 100% true.
Can't say midget. It's worse than the N word.
Case in point. Case in point.
That's.
Can we move into actual talking about
Podcast. Oh yeah, you
real
said you
stuff?
had something that you
Well,
thought. we
first
could
I
mull
wanted to
over.
talk to Shipley about California.
Yeah.
So
California was good. I worked a retail job just on a temporary basis over the summer. So that was fun. I'm sure I have lots of cool stories. I'm just trying to remember them all.
Didn't you manage a dressing room area?
I did.
Situation?
Okay, I remember this. There was this
men's wardrobe dressing.
Okay,
area?
yeah. There was this one time when one of my jobs was to clear out the fitting rooms, and there was this one time when I went into this fitting room and I found a Red Lobster style cheddar biscuit neatly wrapped up in a napkin. I have also encountered in dressing rooms, let me see, I once found a dirty diaper that, thank God, had all been like all taped and rolled up and it was all sanitary to touch, but still, why? I hate you. I'd also like to give a hearty fuck you to the guy who asked me multiple times very emphatically if I was on medication for my complexion. No, dude, I actually like it this way. So yeah, that was
God.
Shit.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I used to be a assistant manager of a Target soft lines department, clothing department.
God.
So everything you're saying, I've already been there.
Oh man, it's a unique, like I always say, retail is not necessarily as bad as people make it out to be. It's not like every other customer is cussing you out and screaming at you. You're gonna meet some really cool people, but my God, does it suck sometimes. Please stay in school, kids.
Well, and we did an episode about difficult customers and customer service and that kind of stuff. I would like to say that, to me, my brief time in retail, the people that were the most difficult to me were not the ones that were like mean or mad. It was just like the weird people.
I can't comment on that right now.
There was this one lady who actually used to work there, and she would come in and she would want to talk to all the associates. She'd expect you to just drop everything you were doing and just talk to her. And I always felt kind of bad for her because you could tell she was lonely, but it was like she would look at me with these big wide eyes and say things like, "Oh, you have such pretty hair." And I'd be like, "Thanks, you can't have it." And then there was also the guy who used to come in and he would target women who were alone in their departments, and he would say creepy things like, "I like your lips, you have a nice body." He asked me once how old I was. Like it got to the point where literally we were just calling a manager every time we saw him because we felt unsafe around this guy.
I know some guys like that just say like real weird, off-putting things to women, and luckily most of the women that I know aren't fazed by that shit, but like they still kind of look like, what did that guy just say to me? You know, like he said something real weird about my body, or like I don't know this fucking guy. I feel like those guys they have been in front of like a computer screen just watching porn, and not around real women for so long that they don't know.
They can't tell.
They don't literally. They just objectify women.
They walk in, they're like, "Hey, do you need your pipes fixed?" And they're like, "No, motherfucker, I don't. Get out of here."
I had this guy literally once. I told him what my major was, and he didn't know me that well at the time. And he was just like, "Oh, well, that suits you." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know. It just does." Okay, but why? It just does. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
why you should. That's why you should look at him and go, "I'd really prefer you just catcalled me and walked off."
Yeah.
Like I'd really. Now I will say, yesterday I went to Target. I actually had one of my awkward moments.
What are those?
The times where people talk to me.
Did someone ask you for help, Casey?
Kinda, and I turned them down. So I went into Target on North Shore yesterday, and I walked in, went straight to the bathroom, and I was washing my hands, and a guy walked in, went to the urinal, and then before he started, turned around and went, "Hey man, are you getting ready to go shopping?" And I went, "I'm sorry, what?" He goes, "Are you getting ready to go shopping?" And I was like, "Yep, I am." And he goes, "All right, cool, man. I'm in kind of a situation." He pulled out a receipt with a gift card, which when I worked at Target, told me that this guy's full of shit and he's just trying to get money to get heroin, because that's what credit card and gift card scams like Visa gift cards
lead to heroin. Automatically lead to heroin.
Actually, yeah.
Speaking from experience.
It usually is a scam, yeah.
I hear if you actually smash the card up, you can snort it or shoot it. Like,
what does Stam have to do with this?
What? Anyway, back to the story.
Oh, Jesus Christ, both of you. Hey, we're trying to be funny and we're not making any sense.
We can't both be Jesus.
I looked at three people and I said only you two.
I'll be the Holy Ghost. I'll be the Holy Ghost. I kind of feel like favorite today anyway.
I'm happy to be a thief.
So anyways, as he's trying to tell me the story, I just looked down and went, I don't have any money. And he goes, "But you said you're going shopping." I was like, "Yes, I am." And he's like, "How can you go shopping without any money?" And I was like, "Here, let me rephrase it. I don't have any money for you. I have money for me. I don't have any money for you." And he's like, I mean, I was going to give you this gift card. You just give me cash for it. And I was like, that sounds like the shadiest shit I've ever heard, and I'm not doing it. And he goes, all right, man, sorry to bother you. And I was like, are you, though? Because you did it in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Are you really sorry that you pulled me aside before you put your dick in your hand to ask me for some cash for a gift card?
Hold up. What happened in that bathroom?
Like, could there be a more sketch place to ask anyone anything?
No.
I don't understand all these spy movies where they have these important conversations in the bathroom. Like, is there no other place on God's earth you could have had this conversation?
I like people to respect privacy in a bathroom, but I also think there's some spatial awareness that could be good too, because whoever, like, I've had a few times, I don't know what they're listening to, but like these people, their foot will come under the stall, they just start tapping just over and over again.
Wait, people have done that to you?
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yo, whoa.
Never done want to talk about it.
That means it's your turn in the barrel.
The reason I said heroin is because of the way the guy looked. I totally stereotyped this guy because he was a gaunt, shady-looking white guy. No, it wasn't Hunter. It wasn't
Hunter
Hunter.
started looking at his arms.
You know what I mean. You know exactly
Was
what I
I in
mean.
that
Is
bathroom?
when you see a guy at the customer service and he
What's
has
happening?
6 gift cards and he looks like he's like itching his neck and he's like, "Fucking, come on, man, give me money."
Yeah.
That kind of guy. And what's funny is everyone thinks I'm really like being mean right now, but there's a handful of people out there that's like, I know exactly who he's talking about,
Oh,
and
no,
I
I
definitely want to
totally
give
do.
him money. I think it just comes down to it that I just don't like white people.
I'm trying. Oh God, like you know that feeling when like an older white lady like walks up to your counter and you're just like, oh God.
Yeah, and she goes, "Hey, I lost my phone. Can you call it for me?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that."
No, here we are. And we're back. We're back at this now.
So why do you respond to them, though, is what I want to know. Because, I mean, it gives a good story, so I'm not complaining, but I'm just curious
generally-
why you actually...
honestly,
when I see a guy
usually-
coming up, I just go no.
Honestly, I
don't-
used to be like that. I used to be like, "No, can't help you. I don't know what you want. I don't want to help you." Now that I do a podcast, I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be good."
Oh, that makes sense.
I'm like,
I got to tell somebody
"Yes."
about this.
And
Yeah.
then they're
He's
like,
actively-
talk, and I go, "No."
Actively generating content.
I should have been writing down stories this whole summer. I don't know why I wasn't. I could have had so much cool stuff to
Well,
tell
so
you guys.
what did anything of interest happen out in California? Like, what was there a culture shock coming back to Tennessee? What tell us about your travels?
It was a little weird moving back in with my family after being gone for 9 months because it was like, you're used to having your own space, and then all of a sudden you moved right back into the same environment where you were for 18 years before that, and there was a bit of shock there. But no, actually, it was interesting coming back to Knoxville. Actually, felt a little more like coming home.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
It's-
Other than the people throwing Bibles.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, it's just like, my parents are very chill people, but no matter how chill they are, living with your parents is still living with your parents. So
Yep.
it was good to get back.
That's
Amen
again
to that.
That's goes back to that Butch Walker song. That's what that song he wrote. The difference was he's got a song called "Going Back and Going Home," and he says like, I finally know the difference between going back and going home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll go home for Christmas this winter, and that's not going to feel weird at all.
Right.
If I were to move back in with my parents next summer, which I'm really hoping I'm not going to have to do, that would feel weird. That would feel like, okay, there's something wrong here.
I will say there's something weird about it. However, there's some underlying comfort. Like there's like this weird, you're like, I don't want to be living with my parents. Like I'm this age, I shouldn't be doing that. But then there's also like in the back of your head, you're like, but
you're
it's
safe,
kind of
though.
comforting.
Yeah.
It's like a weird nesting feel.
You get to be 12 again is basically what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, no matter how good your parents are, like if you do have to move back in or as an adult, at being like, well, you're a grown up now, so I'll leave you alone. You just do your thing, and as long as you don't burn the house down, I don't care. There's still that element of, but I'm not in my own space. That will, it's a tiny little
Right.
bug in the back of your brain.
Yeah, I had an aunt and uncle. I don't know how they did it. I'm glad they did. I mean, it worked out well for them. But for like the first couple of years, 2 or 3 years at least, after they were married, they lived with her grandparents, just saving money. And like, man, I don't know how they did it, but like they have a cute little house now out in California in a suburb of San Jose. They got 2 kids. They're doing great. So I mean, evidently it worked out for them. But man, kudos to you guys.
It's just sacrifice usually leads to some kind of gain.
It's true.
If you're foregoing something intentionally, then
Yeah, I mean, like, do you have any idea how hard it is to get a house of any size in the suburbs of San Jose?
Fuck, I can't imagine. I bet it's fucking nuts.
It's crazy. Tiny, like Spencer, you've seen the house that I live in. That house would go for $600,000 to $800,000
I don't
easily.
doubt it. I don't
that's
doubt it.
ridiculous.
Man.
Yep.
It's insane.
Now, speaking of comfort, it actually kind of falls into what
I like
I
where
wanted
this
to
is
talk
going.
about today. I wanted
I
to
could use
talk,
a little comfort right now, my friend.
So I now work night audit. So there's parts of my night where there's nothing going on, and I listen to a lot of music just to kind of catch up on old songs and nostalgic feels and stuff like that. So I was listening to a bunch of old music from different genres. And I came across one song and one lyric that I had to literally keep going, rewind 10 seconds, rewind 10 seconds, rewind 10 seconds, and listen to it over and over again to go, I don't know how this makes me feel. It's one of those things like I hear this lyric and I'm on the fence about it. I don't know if it's true or not. I feel like I could definitely see myself agreeing with it, but then there's also parts of it that I could see myself disagreeing with it. And what it was is the song from Rise Against called Satellite. Mm-hmm. And the lyric was that you can't truly love until you've given up on it. And I kind of wanted to see what you guys thought. And I thought,
context. What's the context?
I
Yeah,
think-
like
mean?
what's the
that's all
overwhelming feel?
I think
of the
that's all the
song?
context you should have is just that statement. Do you think that's true?
let's see.
Personally,
Let me pull up.
but-
I'll pull up the actual lyrics. But really, what I wanted to talk about was like relationships, love, things like
Holy
that. Like let's
shit.
get
Are we doing
into
another
it.
one like
I
the last
see.
time I was on here?
It looks
Yes.
like it.
Oh,
That's why I was so
no.
glad you're here.
Fuck, we're doing the love podcast? Oh, man.
So I just
I am not in a good
We're-
place to talk about this, but
Oh, neither am I. That's why I thought it was perfectly
Honestly,
great for me and
same.
you because
Well-
Hunter here is about to get married, and me and you are completely devastated.
Where are you at? Where are you at on the spectrum here? Between like in a good place or a bad place?
oh, she's
to
in a
talk
pretty
about
good place. I
Yeah,
think. Aren't
pretty
you?
good
You're
place.
doing-
I
You're
think.
functional.
Yeah.
Cool. There's two sides of this coin. Tonight.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So my first thought would be that you have to give up on fixing someone, on changing someone, on molding someone before you can actually love them for who they are.
That's acceptance, and that's a huge
And I would
Yeah.
think that there's also maybe on the other side of the coin, if you have like an unhealthy relationship and somebody you've given up on, like that song "Say Something," I'm giving up on you. There's a tendency to romanticize that which has passed. So you can kind of still love someone, glossing over the bad parts and like if you were to get back with them, you'd realize, oh yeah, there's a reason I broke up with you. But like sometimes after giving up on someone, you kind of start romanticize the good parts of the relationship and gloss over the bad.
So I found the lyric here, and the lyric is from the start of the paragraph or whatever you call it. to
Stanza.
Stanza.
Sure.
verse.
Verse.
I'm not that into music, I guess.
We are.
Sorry. So it reads, you can't fill your cup until you empty all it has. You can't understand what lays ahead if you don't understand the past. You'll never learn to fly now until you're standing at the cliff, and you can't truly love until you've given up on it.
I get kind of what they're saying. I think there's a message there. It's basically saying that you have to sacrifice before you can. They're touching on the whole duality of everything. The whole cup thing. That's an old Zen philosophy where it talks about there's a story, like you empty your cup before you can learn
Yeah.
anything. If you run around like you know everything, then your cup is full and nobody can teach you anything. Nobody can add to that because you're already so fucking smart. You already know everything. So that's what they mean by that first line. And that's
Yeah.
actually that's totally true. You've got to understand how much you don't know before you can learn anything. And then what was the next thing it said? I'm sorry.
That you can't learn to fly.
No,
Like you have to be on the edge of the cliff to learn to
Yeah.
fly. That I think this is actually saying four different things all at once. The cliff thing means you've got to take a leap of faith. Like you can't learn to. I heard somebody once say like somebody was talking about they're trying this and they were having trouble dating actually, and they're saying, well, I just have trouble meeting people and like I'm reading a lot about it, and they go, man, you've got to just dive in. You're like the guy that's trying to learn to swim by standing on the side of the pool looking at the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're never going to understand until you jump in. Like you've got to at least ask somebody out. So I think that's what they mean by that line.
And the other one is you can't understand what lays ahead until you understand the past. So, and I think that's more.
That's kind of that whole learning from history thing.
Yeah, it's like
Sure.
if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Well, and I think if in the context of love, I think there's a very important lesson there is that most people that either have success or problems in relationships have these weird patterns. And it's either they're attracted to the wrong kind of people or they attract the wrong kind of people or they become somebody different in a relationship that's not healthy. Anyway, if you don't understand, I think, your patterns, you're doomed to repeat all your failures. If you always go for the wrong kind of person and then blame them when it doesn't work out, you're just going to keep doing that same dance. So I think
Right.
that's what that means. And then the last one,
you can't truly love until you've given up on it. That was the last
That
one.
reminds me, and this is not normally who I'd take romantic advice from, but I once had a youth pastor say in a sermon, it was one of those series they always do on like sex and dating and stuff like that, where
Right.
they tell you, sex before marriage is bad, yada yada yada. But he said that you are not ready for a relationship until you don't need one.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. That's
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I think that's. I don't know exactly what whoever the guys in Rise Against who wrote that lyric. I can't say exactly what they were getting at, but I think that's the takeaway. If you're not taking that away from it, if you're looking for it, if you're looking for somebody to fill a hole, if you're desperate, if you're codependent, that's the worst one, or whatever. If you're looking to date somebody or marry somebody based on your own inadequacies and all the things that's wrong with you, you're doomed.
That
And
reminds me of another thing I read. It was a guy. It was like a blog, some kind of a Christian blog, where this guy was talking about how it was like a couple of months before he was supposed to marry his wife, and he said to his dad that he was so nervous because he doesn't know if she was the one for him. Is she going to really make me happy? And what his dad said to him was, "You don't worry about whether or not she's going to make you happy. You think about, do you want to make her happy?"
Yeah.
And he realized that yes, I do. I want to spend every day for the rest of my life making this woman happy.
And there you go. And as long as she's sort of on the same page, they've got a shot.
Yeah.
Notice I say a shot.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantees. But,
Most marriages, 50% of marriages end in divorce. So
man, there's a funny Brad Paisley song called,
I'm gonna miss her.
no, it's about, it's called If Love Was a Plane, Nobody Would Get On. Like, and he says, he's talking about just like people getting together, like under terrible circumstances and like just how many relationships fail.
Brad Paisley is actually where I got the
He's-
idea for
he's
how
hilarious.
I presented myself to Libby.
No shit.
Yeah,
Did you ask if you could check her for ticks? There's a Brad
I
Paisley
should have.
song.
God, that's
There's another one where he's just
No,
hitting
not
on this
that
girl and he
well.
goes, "Man, I'd like to go out in the woods with you and then check you for ticks." It's
so.
pretty funny.
If I'm in the mood for country, what it normally means is I'm in the mood for Brad Paisley. I love Brad Paisley. So, a long time ago, many ex-girlfriends ago, I had heard the story about how he met his wife, and he'd gone to see the movie she was in, like Daughter or Father of the Bride, I think it was.
Okay.
Something like that. Saw her, thought she was gorgeous, and he was like, well, I've got a record deal now, and they need me to have a woman for this music video, so I'm going to see if I can get her to be the woman in the music video. He manages to do that, and then while he's got her attention, he's like, okay, I think you're adorable. I want to take you on a date. What do you say? They go on the date, and on said date, he said what he did was, she was probably telling this part, but what he did was he laid all of his cards on the table. He's like, this is who I am. This is what I believe in. This is the stuff that I like. This is why I'm choosing to date you. I want to get married at some point, but that's for down the road. But like, I'm in this for the long haul and all that stuff. And then they got married and still together today. And that doesn't necessarily guarantee it. But with Libby, that's exactly what I did. I revealed all the weirdest, like, dopey stuff about me because I'm a pretty childlike adult. And I was like, if this doesn't scare
You're
her
like, I
away-
dress like a Power Ranger. I
Yeah,
crap with
yeah.
the door open.
I've got a monkey puppet behind my bed.
I could live without hearing that.
yeah. Thanks for
Does
sharing
it
that.
surprise you at all? For
Maybe,
Tarzan, though?
No.
maybe I'm out of here.
But no, I was like,
Yeah,
so
yeah, Spanky the Manky.
I was like, this is me. If it doesn't scare you away, then, and I said as much. I was like, we can date now if you're okay with all of this, because out of respect for you and me, like, I just don't want to put any time into it if it's not going to work. Like, you think this is a problem,
Dude,
you're cool, go on.
I fucking think, first off, kudos to you. I think that's the fucking way to do it. What do you guys think? Like, I think it just show up and just go, look, this is me. But here's the problem with that, though. If you don't know who you are, I think the unspoken
Of
rule
course,
of like
yeah.
trying
I think
to
that's-
cohabitate with anybody is you need to figure out who the fuck you are
And be
do a little
comfortable with it, yeah.
You need to do a little self-exploration first and like be okay by yourself. I know a ton of people that are always in like in and out of relationships, in and out, and they never can spend 2 weeks alone, and like they're super codependent, but then they have nothing but unsuccessful relationships. Well, it's
Yep.
obvious why. And I'm not judging anybody, but I don't know. I think there's a thing. So I think what that line in the song probably means is you need to not need love to be ready for love.
Yeah.
And I think on the topic of if you don't know who you are, I think that's when you just need to do it piece by piece. Have those little occasional moments of, yeah, hey, this is where I'm at right now. And I need you to be cool with that. And if you can't be cool with that, then this isn't going to work out. Like my boyfriend and I, we're both fairly young. I'm 20, he's 25. Neither one of us really knows who we are yet. But when we've had those moments come up, we've just been like, look, this is where I'm at. And if you're not okay with that, then we need to have a talk. And so far, again, it's only been 4 months, but so far it's going really well.
Fuck, that's huge.
That's awesome.
A lot of people don't. That's that. You never think like we're still evolving kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you guys talk like, okay, well, we're both changing, so we need to talk about where we are every couple of months. And like, I think I'm going to be this kind of person. I think I'm going to be that kind of person.
No, and we've both had to have those uncomfortable moments where like, look, this may not go over well, but this is important. So I feel like we need to have this conversation. We need to have it right now.
Right.
And talking about your Hunter's topic or what he brought up about just like letting it all out on the table.
Yeah.
I actually overheard. I was at Starbucks getting a coffee, and
We definitely know where you were not at fucking Dunkin' Donuts. We know that. Shit.
So, and I overheard this girl talking to her friend, and she said that, like, I guess she was talking to somebody, like some guy, and she was like, I want him to work for it before I say anything. Like, I want him to put in all the work to make sure that I know that he's interested before I even give him a chance. So I'm just going to keep being very coy.
Yeah, she's not worth anyone's time at that stage.
And I was like, I don't like that. And
shouldn't.
like I think I realized, and I've talked about this with Spencer before, and I can't remember. I think he was not on board with my ideology.
We were
on
probably
this.
just bitching about love.
Yeah, but honestly, it's 2018. I'm almost 30. I kind of want to just wait until a woman approaches me and is like, I think you're pretty cool. I want to go on a date. Like I don't want to do the whole me like beating around the bush and then asking her to go on a date kind of thing. Like I want to find a badass independent woman that would just be like, hey, I think you're pretty awesome. Let's give this a shot.
And they're out there. If that's what you're after, then you'll have to wait. But I mean that's a little different, I think, from that chick at Starbucks being like he's gonna work for it and he's gonna earn this.
Well, it's complete opposite of that.
Yeah,
so
that's them being like, I want this specific person, but I don't want to put in any of the work
Well,
to get them.
that's princess complex.
But
Yeah.
But that said, like, hopefully a lot of times, I've known girls that I thought were really cool, and then I heard them say some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, well, he better do this and he better do that. And I'm thinking, like, God damn, man, like, you're really putting this guy through the fucking ringer. Like, maybe he's a good guy and you want him to jump through all these hoops. Like, give this guy a little bit of slack. Like, if he's a good guy, you need to, like, and I'll say this too, like, girls, if you're listening to this, if you've got a guy and he's kind of a fixer-upper, and spoiler, we're all fixer-uppers. Like every fucking guy,
Especially me and Spencer.
yeah, we're big time. We're a little rough around the edges, and we could use some polishing. You know, we need some interior decorating. You guys are the best at that. But no guy is ever going to be your knight in shining armor if you don't treat him like the knight in shining armor up front.
And if he is, that is generally not a good sign.
Yeah, like the whole you got to let the guy know that he's like a special. If he needs to feel like he's your hero, even if he's not. Mm-hmm. And if you encourage a guy like that, then he'll do anything you want him to, and he really will turn out to be your hero. But if and I see this a lot of times, like girls like really like a guy, but the only way they know how to communicate is by tearing him down and like nagging. And you hear guys always complain about, well, she nags all the time, and then the woman always goes, well, they don't listen. But I keep trying, but they don't listen. And the guy goes, she won't stop nagging me. And like, there's no communication. So at some point, people got to get together and learn how to communicate. I think that's the big thing.
Well, I mean, there's another line in that song that Casey read off about like understanding the past too. And while I think it was maybe generally about something else, it leads into that really well, because if you know, because you have to experience, like you said, you got to dive in. You have to experience everything to know what works and what doesn't work, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
So I was told about Libby by a coworker at the time, and she told me about Libby because I had been broken up relatively recently at the time, and I was just like, she was talking to me like, had any prospects as far like looking at anybody? And I was like, no, I'd like to find somebody and date somebody, sure, but I don't. I've got this laundry list of what I need in a person for it to work. I've figured this out. And like, I was like, they just don't exist. And she goes, well, this girl started working here a couple weeks ago. You should maybe meet her. So from there, I was like, okay, well, it's not going to hurt to meet. And when I actually did meet Libby, actually you were involved, Spencer. I didn't know this for the longest time. It was, I think because she was brand new at BAM and you ordered a drink and she made the wrong one. And it was when I went up there and I was like, don't worry about it. I'll buy your drink that you got since you paid for this one, and I'll just take that because I was going to get a drink anyways. And she was like, he's a cool dude. And from there,
She was talking about me.
yeah, not me. But I literally, like, when I realized that was her and that's who I'd been told about, again, just putting it all out there, which I didn't know if that was going to work. I think that would backfire most times, but I think that's why it's a good, tactic if you're actually looking for someone to date. I just called her out because I had interacted with her, I think, only that time with Spencer the day or so before. And I was like, hey, are you going on your lunch break? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, do you want to sit with me? And she was like, okay, yeah. And then we just hung out on our lunch break, and that was the first conversation we had.
And I think that's what you got to do. Like, if like there's some people listening to this that probably have no problem dating. God forbid, if you're one of the beautiful people and people are just throwing themselves at you all the time, then all you have to worry.
Must be nice.
It must be nice. But if you are in that position, then all you have to worry about are like how you treat people and possibly setting boundaries. Like, don't lead people on. Don't become intoxicated by the need for attention. Like, observe how you actually treat other people. You'll be fine. But if you're one of the regular people like me, that you kind of have to get out there and figure things out and stuff like that. I will say this: some of the best advice I've ever got. And Casey, I appreciate your whole thing. I actually like if girls sort of like make the first move too. I'm not the big fucking alpha.
I just feel like I'm too old for that shit.
Well, I don't like to feel like I'm lecherous. I grew up around so many lecherous fucking guys that were just so beguiling to women, and it's just so cheesy. I just can't stand it when a guy, and we've all got one of those friends that like, but within 5 minutes of meeting a fucking girl, he's like, hey, do you want to go out? Hey, you're really hot. Hey, blah, blah. And I'm just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
They usually have a neck beard and a fedora.
I don't know.
They're like, "Milady."
Well, I just I don't know, man. I'm friends with a lot of girls, and in real serious, like, platonic friendships, I respect women a lot, and I just think it cheapens them to not, like, at least attempt to be friendly for a little while. Hear what they have to fucking say. I learned so much from women. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
yeah, definitely.
They're not objects, at least not to me. But again, I don't have the best track record either, so maybe I'm wrong. But the whole fucking, I will say, one of the best advice somebody ever gave me, my friend who's also been a guest on this podcast, shout out Rachel Reitz, I love you. She said, if somebody's like single, they don't need to worry about like trying to date and this. They just need to try to make a lot of friends. And you'll eventually you'll bump into somebody. And that kind of coincides with a book that we've talked about on this podcast a lot, the Augustin Burroughs masterpiece, This Is How. And I've got so many notes that I've taken from reading that book, and I'm still not done with it because it's so big that I can only read like a chapter a week, and I have to think about it for like 6 days. You know? But I'll break you off a couple little things. For the singles out there, for the lonely hearts tonight, those of you coming across the airwaves.
I hate you.
I know. I love how you hate me. Check it out. He said a couple things about people, like you were talking about, like meeting people and that kind of stuff. Here's some pretty good advice, okay? Get outside your routine. Go new places. Take new routes. They did a study, and most people that claim they just can't meet anybody. I can't meet anybody. All the good ones are taken. You've heard this shit. Well, no, they're not, because I know a lot of good ones, and they're not taken. But you got to go different places. You got to just do something. Go to a store you don't normally go to. Just get outside your routine. Take a different line. They said most of the people that have those complaints stay in the same circle, the same 5-mile radius, the same path to work every single day. So get out of your routine. Here's another thing about getting yourself together. People that worried about their imperfections. Well, I'm not ready. I hear that a lot. I'm not ready today. I'm not ready. I'm working. I'm trying to lose a couple more pounds. Like, I'm trying to blah, 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 blah. I'm waiting till I get a new job. I can't afford to take a girl out. Whatever. Understand this. This is from Augustin Burroughs. Imperfections are extremely attractive when their owners are happy with them. Like, what's unattractive is somebody that's got a horrible dent in their self-esteem, and they're just so damaged that, like, they can't feel good about themselves, and they just can't get happy. If you're just accept who you are to start with, you can still be improving, but you'll be cohabitable at that point. And this is the last one. This is my favorite one. Here's the basic rule about meeting somebody. Never try to impress anybody. And then just wait until someone is impressed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's huge, So those are my 3 little takeaways from that book about love and dating and whatnot.
It's all brilliant, though. That's all true.
I really like that last one because when I met my boyfriend, it was not with the intent of dating him. We talked and were friends for months with no thought of dating whatsoever.
Sure.
Until it just kind of happened. It was kind of a mutual thing. We were just like, hey, you know what? We should try dating. And it was actually really neat because while I went to California for the summer, he stayed on the East Coast. So we've been long distance for the last 3 months. And it meant we got a really great opportunity to really get to know each other for who we really were. So we had the opportunity to get out of the way of all the physical stuff and see, do we actually have that soul to soul connection that you need to make it last?
I think doing a like full-time long-distance relationship is not a great idea, but something partial like that for a few months is probably helpful.
You can only connect through communication at that point, and relationships, romantic or otherwise, rise and fall on the communication within them. So that, I think, is another thing. We didn't really touch on that.
It's true.
Yeah.
All the other stuff is vital for it to even, I think, have a foundation to build from. But if you don't know how to talk to somebody, then there's... My mom's dad always told her when she and her siblings were young, but like in the dating stage in high school and stuff, he was always like, find whoever you want to date, and that's all good, but also make sure you can hold a conversation with them, because when you get married, one day that stuff's not going to work anymore, and you'll be stuck with them.
Dude, I've always thought that. I've always only tried to go for people that I could talk to. I mean, there's obviously there's the lust and the physical attraction, and you get this euphoric feeling, and you're just become. Yeah. I've had that sensation where you just first start dating and you're almost intoxicated with somebody, and that's great. And I think that's there. I think that's built into us, because if that wasn't there, men and women would rarely fucking talk to each other.
Yeah.
If it was only the differences, it would be like two warring factions, but there's this attraction. That's what gets guys and girls together. And then it gives them something to stay together for. But at the end of the road, just picture those two little old people sitting on the porch together, all that lust and stuff is gone. You have to actually, there's a person in front of you.
And banter doesn't count. Coming from someone who loves to banter.
Oh,
I've been mistaken for a flirt because of how much I love to banter. I just banter with people. Banter doesn't count. You have to be able to actually talk to somebody at the end of the day.
Kudos.
Actually talk to someone.
Kudos to you for fucking saying that. Straight.
And I think the reason I brought up all of this, and mainly bringing up the fact that I want a woman that will actually approach me, is because the last few relationships I felt like ended with me feeling like the other person settled. And so now I want to find somebody who actually is interested.
Sure.
If that makes any sense. So I want to find somebody who approaches me first, because then at that point I know that they're actually interested and they're not just settling and 6-7 months down the road they're gonna be like, all right, I found someone else that's better, I'm done.
That's the thing.
It's not bad. I totally get that. I mean, I will say this: I would advise you. Again, not that I'm doing any better than you are. # single, but fucking if you happen to meet somebody, don't be afraid to say hi, though.
No, absolutely not.
You know what I mean? There might be somebody that would be really into you, and they're just not the aggressive type. And
I'm not saying that I want to find somebody that I'm attracted to and just be not say anything, be they have to say something to me first. I'll still be friends and talk. However, when it goes to pushing it over that limit of being friends to going on dates and stuff, sure, I want that person to approach me first.
I get it. There's a website, an app that's I hear is geared to. I've never done online dating. Bumble is supposedly what the girl makes the first. What do you guys think about? Let me give it.
I hate all those apps.
Well, hold on. Okay, let's get into this. Let's talk. I don't use them.
Yeah.
A ton of people do these days. I think I saw something on Reddit or Huffington Post. I saw something on the news where Tinder just went something $5 billion up on there. Something insane. It got so big in the last. Let's put it this way. It's something so big that more people are meeting on Tinder now than are meeting off Tinder. Something crazy like that. I don't know the actual numbers on it, but I was like, whoa. It almost made me feel as a single person, I should have that on my phone, or I'm just going to be alone forever, which I know that's not the truth. But what do you guys think about dating apps and stuff like that?
I just want to say first about Bumble. The reason for Bumble is not necessarily to make women go first. It's so Stevie men don't have the option.
It's to stop
first.
80,000 dick pics from flying.
Yeah,
right in
that's the purpose of Bumble. But
I get it.
Yeah, I think probably part of the reason, I don't know because I've never used it, I would imagine the reason for the popularity of Tinder is that from the get-go, there's no expectation of commitment. Because Tinder started out, and for the most part still is, a hookup app. The goal is just to have a night of casual sex.
But I've known people that got married.
Exactly. It leaves you the option to where, hey, I really like this person. You can continue to see this person. There's just no expectation that you kind of have to. There's none of that. Should I call them? Do I have to call them? There's none of that awkwardness.
I don't know why. When you said that, I had the weirdest thing pop in my head of some guy being like, "Hey, I like the way your vagina feels. Let's get married." Like just
based on the hookup. Like,
that was
like
they
great
meet up.
You want to do it forever?
Oh, okay. Did you turn me down for a second?
It got loud, and I'm
sorry.
manually writing the volume.
Sorry. It just, I don't know why. It just seems like meet up, casual sex, and then you're like, I like the way that worked. Let's go. That's so weird to be the first thing, like the first interaction I have with somebody before dating.
That's settling.
Yeah.
That was good enough. Let's just stay together.
Well, what do you think about the other ones? There are a whole bunch of them. Are any of them good?
I honestly don't like the fact that people, because the way all these apps work is you see a picture of a person and then go yes or no based on their look.
Right.
And
a short biography. So their look and how good of a writer they are.
And it's not fair, honestly, because there's a lot of people out there who aren't the prettiest person ever, but have the badass personality that it doesn't matter.
Sure.
I mean, looks shouldn't matter anyway.
But they do.
They do. And I understand that.
Like, I hate to say that, but like there's even if you don't judge somebody based on their looks, like, you can't help who you're attracted to.
No, I know that.
And I get that, and I get that and I think that's when you have to kind of stay in your lane. So I don't know, like I feel like I've dated way outside my league a lot, and I don't know how I did that, and obviously it didn't work out. But if you get somebody, if you trick somebody into like going out with you, and then they just aren't physically attracted to you at all, it's going to die.
Yeah,
they might learn to be basically if your personality is that good, but. Here's what I find. A lot of times I think people that, like, if somebody really takes care of themselves, you get one of these like 5 days a week to the gym types that like totally take care of themselves and they watch their macros and all this shit. I could never do that. And I don't think I could be with somebody that was that into their appearance because it seems a little vain. But at the same time, if it's like somebody that's just trying to be healthy and then you're just fucking sitting on the couch eating potato chips, ballooning up into this like huge piece of like, you know what I mean? Like at some point they're not going to be able to respect you or you're not going to be able to respect, or you're going to feel like, I don't know, persecuted by them when they go, hey, do you want to go to the gym? You go, well, no, I was hoping that we could just like watch some more shows and like eat this pizza. And they're going to go, well, maybe we could go run. And you go, no, I don't really want to run. Sooner or later, you're going to hit a cliff.
Yeah.
So you've got to have people that are like, you've got to be compatible. And I'm not saying that it has to be, I'm not saying that there's like,
I think
good and bad.
I think personality should take the front seat over looks, though.
Yeah, because we're all going to be ugly as fuck in the end.
Yeah.
We're all going to be decrepit and fucked up. Like, I have to have somebody you can talk to. That's why I want somebody you can sit on the porch and drink coffee with and have that perfect, like, conversation in the afternoon. Like, I've probably subjected so many girls who had to sit there and they go, what do you think about the universe? Here, I've got some more coffee. You know, I'm probably like, God, can we get the fuck out of here? You know, I want that thing. I want there to be this, like, companionship, you know?
I think the key thing that's wrong in the dynamic that Spencer just suggested is that the couch potato person is just that. They don't have any other overriding drives. They don't have any other passion. Like, if, yeah, you don't have to go to the gym 5 days a week, but if you're like really fucking into, I don't know, something like, I don't know, say guitar cables for an example.
What you just described me. I'm the couch potato that's into fucking guitar strings. Like, I'm more that. I wasn't saying that that's the bad guy and the gym person is the good guy.
Is, you got to have personality compatibility. And so if their big drive is into fitness, you got to have a big drive for something.
And I think that's the thing. That's it. There's something. When you again, Jesus, I can't even believe we're even going to scratch this disgusting surface. Fuck it.
Let's do it.
What makes somebody attractive? Mm-hmm. That's the $1 million question right there. But I think it's the underlying thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that like when you hear guys say this all the time. Well, girls only like guys that are assholes. How many times have you ever heard that?
So much.
All the time.
So much.
Girls don't like assholes.
Not true.
Girls like confident guys.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Girls like guys that know what the fuck they want. And a guy that knows what he wants typically isn't afraid to hurt some feelings to say it. He'll go, look, let's do this. This is what I want. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And there's something about that, and I'm sure it's a genetic thing. Like, they're wired to follow, like, leaders. Here's the terrible, women don't want criminals.
Yeah.
But the guy, like the really tough, confident guy on the motorcycle with the leather jacket or whatever that's, like, being all badass, who may have just gotten out of jail, just happens to share a skill set with, like, confident, capable, successful men. You know what I mean? It's hard to tell the difference. That's why girls wind up with so many shitbag guys.
And it's
because the shitbag guy is the exciting, confident one.
It's just inexperience. I've almost been roped into those relationships before. Narrowly missed it. Saw for what it was and escaped it. It's just inexperience.
Sure.
Generally speaking, a girl will figure it out eventually.
And sometimes the type B personality, like the softer guy, like the introvert guy or whatever like that.
Me and Spencer.
Well, I don't know what type I am, but I'm the loudmouth type. But that guy's got to figure out how to express himself. And when he does, he'll be the attractive one. And then when the douchebag on the motorcycle or whatever, I don't know, it's a stereotype. I grew up watching Days of Our Lives.
Oh, until he starts driving his motorcycle without his helmet, and then he's gone.
Well, he becomes stupid and reckless or whatever. But I think
ceases to exist.
Yeah.
or it turns out to be a terrible boyfriend, and then the girls go, "Wow, I don't want to date that kind of guy anymore." But at the same time, they've got to have something they're attracted to. That's the whole kind of a thing. So there's these underlying things, and you were talking about thing that people like.
Drive. You have to have a passion for something. That I think is the most attractive thing in the world is passion.
It is. That guy's like into something. He's following a path. He's doing something. He's driven. I've heard so many girls say that. So many girls and guys. Guys, if you're listening, like here's the good news, and a lot of women have said again, you need to try to take care of yourself a little bit, or like fucking nobody's gonna want you. But so many women have said that they're attracted to guys that are like driven, or they've got a passion or a purpose or whatever.
And it's got to be a little bit more than just a hobby. Like my boyfriend's really super into Star Wars. He loves Star Wars. He reads all the books, plays a bunch of the video games. I mean, so do I. It's one of the reasons we started even considering the concept of dating, why we became friends in the first place. But I didn't start dating him and be like, oh man, this guy's so attractive because he was into Star Wars. I love Star Wars, and that was a big thing. But he's got a real drive to better himself, and he's got a place that he wants to be in life, and that is really what he's driven towards, and that really is what I was attracted to.
And I know the guy you're talking about too. Shout out if you're listening, Sam. First off, I fucking miss you. I know I'm getting a little sappy there, but I totally fucking miss you. But you're right. Sam is a guy that I think Sam believes in like he's like a hero. He believes in like heroism. He believes in like an ultimate good. He's got like a moral code.
Oh, I love that in people.
No, he really is. He really is. He's like the guy that would do the right thing. Like he's
lawful good.
You lawful good. Exactly. He's like, champion
good
material.
choice.
You know what I really don't like in a significant other is wanting to be the center of attention, because I know when something goes down, like in a restaurant, they don't get their order correct, they're going to be the one that makes a scene. Maybe I just don't I don't like somebody that's going to make a scene. Like if I see somebody and like I know they're going to be feisty at the wrong times, and they're going to be like, this guy just called me this so-and-so, and you're like, yeah, that sucks, let's go. They're like, no, fight him. And I'm like, I'm a pacifist,
Has a
so
girl
I'm not
ever
doing
told
that.
you to fight somebody? A
In
girl
high school.
God damn. Because that's called crime.
I was told by
That's illegal.
But I literally, in high school, that's when I figured out, I was like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, why not? I was like, I think I'm a pacifist. I don't think I like using violence.
I was told by my high school girlfriend my senior year. Thank you for this. She. I don't remember how we got onto the conversation, but she told me one day that something that she finds, and she blankets, statement the whole gender too, that women love seeing two dudes beat the shit out of each other over one of them. And I think there might be some kernel of truth at the core of like the idea that you're so desirable that they'll turn to violence. But that's not what she was saying. She was saying the idea that you will get fucked up or hurt somebody was attractive. And that's just a huge red
Gross.
flag.
Yeah.
Gross.
Ew.
Edit if you need to, Spencer, but just like,
No, I'm
good.
Whatever.
I was like, good God.
What you said something else interesting about going out to eat, and I heard somebody say this a long time ago. I think this is a good bit of advice. They say if you go on a date with somebody, like if you match up either through an app or somebody sets you up, however you get together, but you go out on the date, they said, watch how that person treats the waiter. Because they're obviously trying to impress you. So they're going to be on their best behavior. They're going to tell you that they don't have all this emotional baggage, and they're going to lie to you all fucking night, But watch how they fucking treat other people, because that's who you're sitting across from. Like, so if they're shitty to the waiter, if they complain about the service, if they're just real negative and whatever, but then they go, but you look nice.
Yeah.
Guess what? If you keep down that road, that's what you're fucking signing up for.
You better look nice every fucking night.
I've been on dates.
Deep shit.
I've been on dates where the girl is offered to pay, and I've been like, that's fine. And then they don't tip. Like, they offered to pay just so they wouldn't tip and leave a note to the wait staff that they were awful. And then we left, went outside, said our goodbyes, and I went back inside, gave the waiter $20. It was like, you did fine.
Oh my
Shit.
God.
Wow.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Oh, and
No,
did I bring up in the podcast that I was dumped by Jesus? I know I've told you guys the
Yes,
story,
yeah.
but have I told it on the podcast how I was dumped by the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
I don't remember if that came up on an
Dying to hear
episode.
this. Let's go.
Do you don't remember this story?
I don't remember this story.
He told it,
So
but it might not have been
I
on
was at a
here.
Bricks Pizza. I've been seeing this girl for about 4 or 5 months. No big deal. Not like it was a long-term thing, but went to Bricks, sat down, and the girl was like, "Hey, I think we should talk." And I was like, "Uh-oh, sure, we'll talk." And she was like, "So I did a lot of praying over the last couple weeks." And she's like, "And I talked to God and Jesus, and they told me that I just shouldn't be in a relationship right now, and that I should let you down easy, and that we should, squash this, And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "So Jesus
Shit.
told you to dump me?" And she's like, "Kind of, not really." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back." And then I just never came back.
How long had you known this girl?
For a while.
Were you into her?
Kind of. I was even willing to go to church.
Oh, wow.
That's how, I was into her enough that, she was like, I really like a
Shit.
guy that goes to church. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And then she
He was
dumped me.
opening up, and then they closed. They shut him out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, to be honest, we'd already finished eating, so when I left, I kind of stuck her with the ticket. I was in my head, I was like, "Did Jesus warn you I was going to do that?"
Fuck, Jesus should have told you I'm going to dine and dash, bitch. Shit.
I mean,
even know.
I guess in the long run, it's a good thing that worked out, but
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite stories, is because it's just like everyone's like, "Oh, I've had this worst date. I've had this worst date." I was like, "But have you been dumped by Jesus?"
That is
No?
That's a
Jesus
pretty strong.
Okay.
doesn't love you, bitch. Surprise!
I don't care how good a person she is, and she could be like a grade A human being now. And I know people that communicate spiritually that way, and I'd 100% believe them. If she wasn't bullshitting you, of which that excuse reeks of bullshit, if she felt that way and was told by God and Jesus that you were not the guy and blah, 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 the fact that she didn't have the wherewithal as a living human being to know that that's maybe not exactly the way to tell you that means that she wasn't worth your time in the first
I
place.
feel like
So
she did
dashing
you-
was a good call.
She
either
did
way.
you a favor there.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is as she was telling me, I could feel myself getting angry, and then about halfway through of getting angry, I started getting maniacally humorous. I was like, "What can I do? Oh, I know. Hey, I got to run to the restroom. I'll be right back." And then I just left.
Shit.
Yeah, it's like at least don't use Jesus as your excuse. I mean, really, just be like, "Hey, I'm not feeling it. I think we should break this off."
Yep.
It's not hard.
Yeah, it rips a Band-Aid. Just always rips a Band-Aid, man.
Actually, you could think about it like Jesus helped you dodge a bullet there. And if you think about it enough, there's still a chair open at church. If you ever want to come.
Jesus does love you.
Yay.
I mean, as that book said, I need to take different paths and try different things. So, no, I don't think I'm going to do that.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. And I want to kind of I want to wrap up our discussion about love and stuff by saying something that I 100% believe in love, and I don't believe there's anything wrong with love. I know I said that I was salty about it or whatever, but I don't think anything is wrong with love. I think love is perfect. I don't think love does anything wrong. And I've officiated a whole bunch of weddings where I read from Corinthians where love is not, it does not want, love is not jealous, all that stuff. And honestly, the things I have a problem with are things like mental abuse, infidelity,
Trust issues kind of stuff.
well, just stuff that when people do shitty things to other people, and there's so much opportunity for that to happen in relationships because you open yourself up, which I still believe you should do. I don't believe you can connect until you're vulnerable, but at the same time, trust, there's a big thing about trust in there, and people project things on you. I can't tell you how many times people have been jealous of me, and I wasn't doing anything, and then turned out to find out they were fooling around behind my back. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I see it. You never think, why would anybody not trust me? I've totally been really trustworthy. And then you come to find out that's them projecting the shit they do. So, and again, that happens to everybody. But if I ever come off that I'm salty about love, I'm salty about all the terrible things people do and then blame it on love.
Yeah.
I think love is wonderful. And I believe love comes from God, and I think that it's the best thing you could do. And also, like you said, talking about this girl, you said your friend, said you need to not worry about if she's right for you. You need to worry about how you can make her happy. I think love is only an outgoing verb. Mm-hmm. Love is what you do. It's not a condition. It's not like like they said in the movie Boomerang, it's not like something you caught. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like a disease that you just caught. Like love is what should have brought your ass home last night. It's what Halle Berry tells fucking Eddie Murphy in Boomerang. That's one of the best scenes in that movie. So I'm sick and tired of people using love like it's some kind of a stupid disease you catch. Love should have brought you the fuck home. Like it's what you can do for somebody. And if people, I think, focus on all the great things they can do for one another instead of like what they're not getting from their partner, I think you just get what you want. That said, I think everybody should also check out the love languages.
Yeah, that's
Love
a big
languages
time.
are amazing.
Do you know about this?
Oh yeah, I love them.
Do you know what yours are?
Quality time.
Quality time. Do you have a second one?
Probably physical touch.
Quality time, physical touch. Do you guys know what they are?
I have no idea
Have you
what you're
taken
talking
the
about.
test?
I know, but I don't remember. I'm
You guys-
actually going to see if Libby can text me
I
real
would
quick.
love right
She knows
now
them.
if anybody listening to this will go. You can go take a test for free. I think it's 5lovelanguages.com.
You
or
could probably just Google it. It'll come up.
Google it, and then you just go and you answer a bunch of questions, and it'll tell you what your love type is.
And so it kind of solves that whole issue of, I know you love me, I'm just not feeling it though.
And look, it sounds like some bullshit. Like, well, and maybe not. Maybe anyway, whatever. Everybody go take it because it'll tell you how you perceive love. Even you want to go a step further, I encourage anybody that's struggling with like, communicating with their partner or whatever, go get the fucking book, read it, because it tells us some pretty, in my opinion, some pretty eye-opening shit. There's
also an edition for parents. Like you can use it with your kids.
your
If you're
kids.
struggling to communicate with your teenager, a love language difference could be the reason why.
love language is all about that kind of stuff, but it's a big eye-opener. I first heard about it. I was sitting at the bar with my buddy, Al, and who we work with, and she was like, yeah, me and my boyfriend did the love languages thing. And the bartender goes, oh, did you do that? We took a whole class at UT about that, me and my fiance. So all of a sudden, all these people were talking. I was like, well, I've never heard about this shit. And I looked it up, and it was a big eye-opener. And I did the test, but you can get it's 5 languages of love or 5 love languages online. Just do it. Take your test. Tell us what
Well
your
worth
love
your time.
languages are.
Yeah.
But here's the trick. You have to use it with like a partner because you've got to figure out what theirs are. So you can do the things they need, and they can do things you need. Supposedly we adopt our love languages from our parents.
Right on.
So I just wanted to say I don't hate love. In fact, I enjoy studying it. And I
that
believe
reminds
in it
me. You said you do believe in love.
100%.
Do you believe in love after love?
What are you talking about?
Do you believe in love after love?
I walked right into that.
I love you, Casey, so
I
much.
fucking walked right
I
into
can
that.
feel something inside me saying, I really don't think you're strong enough now.
You guys should have given me a warning so I could
No
pop some
matter
popcorn.
how hard I try, you keep pushing me. You started, can't do that.
Oh, okay. Speaking of songs, like
Who wants to go
old
skiing?
80s songs, that reminds me. I told Spencer this joke. I want to tell it to you guys. I think it'll be a great finisher. Okay, so you know how holy water hurts vampires. Well, I used to wonder why priests don't just bless rain clouds so that the rain will kill
We've
the
heard this
vampires.
joke 1,000 times.
Are you for real? Damn it!
It's a great joke. Don't feel bad.
Finish it for the
I want to
listeners.
finish it, yeah, for the listeners.
Finish it for the
I used to
listeners.
wonder why priests don't just bless rain clouds so that the rain will kill the vampires, and that was when I realized why all vampires are from Europe, because somebody blessed the rains down in Africa. Boom!
I took it. I don't believe in love anymore. I don't believe in anything after that. That was it.
I've heard that joke so many times, and every time I hear it, the person goes, hey, I have this really funny joke that I thought of. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You saw it on Facebook. I know it. Except maybe Shipley actually did think of it.
No, I didn't.
Oh. I don't like Africa by Toto that much. Like, I think Hold the Line is way better.
No, that's
Monster.
hey.
You started a whole episode with an Africa Toto joke.
I know.
What?
You can feel that way. I will say. In
I think
defense
Hold
of
the Line
Africa,
and Rosanna are way better than Africa.
That's
Africa
true.
is the best song.
And
to
I Won't
start
Hold
a
You
game of
Back. That
Risk
was the
with.
other one I was trying. I Won't Hold You Back is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about that one. Well, all right. And you know what? Speaking of songs, I'll say something else. I enjoyed that this whole discussion about love and dating and all that kind of stuff kind of started with like a song lyric. And I am super, super, super happy about how much we identify like our emotional component with music.
Yeah.
And how widespread it is. And you talked about a song lyric, and you talked about a song lyric, and I think that's cool. I think as long as we can sort of interpret our feelings through music, I think that we're in a really good. No matter how difficult the path of dating and marriage and stuff is, I think that if you get music in there to kind of help you along, I think that's pretty fucking cool. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else?
I just wanted to wrap it up with talking about that lyric. I think that I'm more on the side of I believe it. I think that you can't truly love until you've I don't think given up on it is the right term, but until you've looked into your soul searched yourself and realized, hey, I don't need love to continue on. I can go my entire life without love, and at that point, that's when you can actually truly embrace the feeling.
Like that's when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's generally the sentiment. A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
And look at all the stuff you get done. You get a lot of cool stuff done in the meantime. Well, right on, guys. Well, we hope that everybody out there is able to find love. We hope that you guys, let me, one more little thing. This is getting so fucking long. While you're looking for love, and this is something right after my mom died, and one of my really, really good friends, Shauna, shout out, I love you, took me to Atlanta to see Butch Walker, my hero, and it was almost like it was the one thing I needed, and I stood there, and I remember he was singing a lyric in a song, and this thing came up, but he said, "Love yourself," and it was part of a bigger lyric where he said, "Love yourself for once, my dear." I think he's talking about his mom, but anyway, like it's like the lights in the place went out when he said that, and I felt like my mom wanted me to know that kind of. Anyway, I carried that all the way back with me, and I wrote it on my chalkboard in my kitchen. And this has been years ago, and it's still there, and it just says, "Love yourself." Like, I think, remember to love yourself first. And whether or not anybody else is doing it or not, like, there's nothing wrong with you, and you're wonderful, and don't ever let anybody make you feel different. That's my public service announcement for today.
Shipley, I'm so glad you're back.
So am I.
Same.
I'm so happy that you're here. I needed somebody to come on this podcast and tell these two knuckleheads that I'm right.
Well, it's a good thing I'm back then.
Hold the line. All right. Okay. Anyway, guys, we're going to sign off. This is Beacon House Podcast.
Oh,
I'm
man.
Spence.
I'm Casey.
I'm Hunter.
Casey, tell them where they can find us on social media and whatnot.
Instagram, Twitter, at Beacon House Knox. Email us at beaconhouseknox@gmail.com. And look at us on Facebook and YouTube at The Beacon House Podcast.
That's right. Guys, we are coming up on another mailbag episode. We're starting to get close here. It's been suggested to us maybe that this time they would like us to maybe tackle some very popular self-help questions that you may have found online, or if anybody wants like almost like an advice column. Like, I'm having trouble with this thing. What should I do? But we would love to advise you. Jordan, what do you think about it? You think we're capable of that?
Oh, dear God, yes.
Well, there you have it.
That
folks.
went a completely different direction I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, let's go. Like, why don't you send us some of your problems and let us fucking solve them for you? Whoever that guy is that's screwing around with you, let us deal with him, okay? Okay, that's all I got.
Hey, the Chewies I had for lunch said it's time to sign off right now.
So we're gonna go before Hunter turns inside out, and I guess that's it for us. We've been the Beacon House Podcast.
Oh my.